Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. here at the Dale Jr. Download and the Dirty Mo Media Studios with my co-host TJ Majors for this Xfinity Ask Jr. And we got a new Xfinity read.
Yeah.
Let's see what they changed. What? I want people to know that we're going to have a new read here.
All right.
All right, so in racing and in life, speed isn't optional, it's expected. As a driver and Xfinity Series team owner, I rely on things that perform under pressure, and that's why I go with Xfinity Wi-Fi. Fast, dependable internet with one price, locked in for 5 years, no contracts, no slowdowns, no nonsense. Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR. Seems like the same read.
It's not quite as booming.
There's no booming,
But Xfinity's still great.
but Xfinity Wi-Fi is still the best.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, we got great questions from the fans this week. This first one's from Hunter. Chase Elliott said in an interview recently with Bobby Bones that you helped him change to the number 9 from the 24. So how did that end up coming about?
Yeah, he explained it pretty well. Basically, there was, I think the 9 car was going away. Petty or whatever that 9 car was at the point was going away and available or had been gone for a couple years. And I went to Chase and I just said, hey, man, if you wanted to change, you better do it soon. You know, you're building some equity with this 24, but if it's not too late to change and it not be like a, kind of a awkward thing. So he's like, oh no, I ain't gonna ask for that. I'm okay. And I'm like, well, would you want to? He goes, yeah, I would, but I'm okay. And so, he's young. He's only in like year 2. And so I went to Rick and I said, Rick, man, I was like, I got an idea that I think would be a pretty big deal. I was like, an Elliott in the number 9 is a big win for everybody. And so I think William Byron might have been coming in.
Yeah, because I think he ended up taking the 24.
Yeah. And so I was like, shift. The 24 is very important to Rick, Jeff Gordon, the legacy, and they want it to be in victory circle and continue on. And there's a lot of equity built in that number. And so that was one of the holdups, I think, for everybody. But I was like, Rick, this will be insane. The fans would love this. Chasing the number 9, and for him to get this done now and be able to, hopefully run the next 20 years with this number, racking up, more equity in the number and the history of the number. So he's like, I'd be fine with that. So I called Chase back. I'm like, dude, I talked to Rick. He's open to the idea. I said, I'm serious. You need to get in front of him and see if y'all can figure it out. So, because I knew down in there somewhere that's really truly what he wanted, but he didn't want to disappoint Jeff and Rick, and he didn't want and I think for me, right, the number fits Byron. For you know what I mean?
Oh, and the number 9 fits Chase. Like it
just seems
like,
to make
sense,
right?
Yeah.
And it was good for everybody. But and he'd ran the 9 here. Right? 9 had been his number, right? So, So I was what small role I played in sort of kicking the ball down the hill. I was happy to do because Chase. I wanted that for Chase.
Yeah.
He's living his dream, racing, and just too good of an opportunity for it not to be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. I do feel bad for some of those fans that got 24 tattoos just on that first year. But it definitely, it seems like it was the right move.
It's always interesting in sports when you see a player like change a number and you're just like, you don't like it when they wear that number. They just don't look like themselves or whatever. Like you just identify them with that number.
It is a very difficult. I think for racing too, because the number is a big identifier.
Yeah.
No different than other sports, right? For your favorite player, if you got a favorite team and a favorite player and he's wearing this number and for whatever reason he changes or goes to another team playing with a different jersey number, it's the strangest thing.
But with racing, like it's also like the previous drivers that had that number too, so it's just like
there's a lot of history.
Yeah.
equity. Yep.
100%. This next question coming from Grant. They saw that you posted on Twitter that you'd be okay in a hypothetical 3-3-4 format to have Talladega in the final round.
Oh, yeah.
And they wanted to know why.
Why not? I don't know. They wanted to know why.
Yeah, like
just why was the question?
Like yeah, what
Yeah.
the hell?
What I mean, what's the problem?
Like, well, I don't know. It feels like it would be a controversial thing if that ended up being the format to have a super speedway in the championship round.
What, should we just get rid of them altogether?
I don't know, but
I mean, super speedways have kind of been in part of our DNA, and I don't know why that's so problematic to have one in a final round.
I think it's because you could see a massive wreck and then the drivers that are
try to avoid the wreck. Try to win the race.
Wreck avoidance.
Try to win. Go win. I don't love road courses. I don't, but I still think that that's probably a perfectly fine idea to have a road course in the final round. I mean, a super speedway, a mile and a half, a short track, and a road course. Let's see what you can do. Road courses are not at the top of my list, but I'm not over here going, we shouldn't have any road courses in the final round. But we have been going to Daytona since the 50s. They built Talladega in the late 60s. This has been in our sport forever. And I think that it's perfectly normal and fine for me for it to be one of the races of multiple events in the final round. Unpredictably be damned. I feel like, if there's a problem with the racing, if there's something about the racing that we don't like, we should fix the racing and keep the track. And
where was this when we were talking about Portland?
I think I can fix the track there. You got a problem. Yeah, that turn one's silly. Nobody liked it. I got roasted for that take. I think if they figure out how to make the racing, I think if we're right, we had a really good Daytona, right? If we can get that style of racing at Talladega, at Daytona, then I'm all for it being part of the equation of how we figure out how we determine our champion.
TJ, what do you think?
I don't think it matters what round it's in. Like he said, if it's the final round, you still got to go through it to get there.
Yeah.
Whether it's the final round, but it would kind of, like to Travis's point, if you do get caught up in something that's just not your doing in the final round and it kind of ruins your championship chase or something with 3 races, whatever it is, that would, but I mean, it could also knock out the previous round as well.
I know.
So it's really no different.
And whatever happens at Daytona or Talladega earlier in the season can be detrimental to your success late in the year. I don't know that. What are we doing if we're insulating ourselves from tough moments and tough things and challenging things about our sport, right? Are we? It's a bit soft, I think, to say, oh man, let's not put the plate race in there and let's not put Talladega in there in the final round because of the unpredictability and a driver being eliminated by a crash that he had nothing to do.
But I like it because it puts that thing I talked to you earlier about in the show, being smart.
Mm.
You don't have to necessarily go win, but if you run a smart race all day, that's what you need to do.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this too, and if they moved it out of the round, I'm indifferent. I really am.
Okay.
I'm not insisting it be there. If they don't change the schedule and it's one of the 4, I'll support it. It's perfectly fine with me. But if they do say, it's too wild, it's too crazy, we're going to, it won't be in the final, I'm not going to pound the table and demand that, they put it back. It is what it is. But I don't have a problem with it if they do go to a 3-3-4. Talladega is one of the final races. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Let's go for it. Yeah, let's go see who can get through there and make it happen.
That's fair. It'll be interesting to see certainly what this format ends up being, and if that.
I don't have a strong opinion about it
either way.
But I'm
damn it, stand on the table.
Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion about it. I've got other battles.
Fair enough.
That are more important.
On a lighter-hearted side, this one's from Brian. You do when you were with TNT and Amazon, you were doing some ride-alongs for Bleacher Report. Who's the coolest celebrity you got to take around in a pace car, and do you have anyone you would like to, like anyone on that list that you would like to take around the racetrack?
Now all the rides were great. Just getting to meet people that that typically might not know much about NASCAR, being able to take them out on the racetrack and give them that perspective is a lot of fun because a lot of times you have people come to the race and they're just a witness to the event itself. You hope they have a great time and they want to come back. But to be able to put them in the seat of a car and take them around the racetrack and have a conversation, right? And also be curious about their sport. Yeah. Malik Neighbors was a receiver for the Giants and plays against my favorite team. And he's best friends with our quarterback, Jaden Daniels. So I had a ton of things that I was curious about that I was hopeful to get to talk to him about, and I did. So it's pretty fun for me.
Like athletes to me would be fun because it's for them to not know your world and go see it.
Yeah, and getting their reaction, and then they're sometimes you'll take people out there and you don't know if they're wowed or you don't know really what they're thinking, and you learn all that later, like weeks later. Oh man, he got out, because we go on and we go do something else. I got another thing I got to get to, or they're shuffled off to do something else, and then you'll hear from somebody like that works with Bleacher Report that was tagging along with them. Man, you should have heard him afterwards. He was saying this and that and the other, and he was amazed by this, and he couldn't believe this. And you're like, man, that's kind of the payoff, I think, at the end.
I always like when you see the person like they're taking it a little easy, and then all of a sudden, all right, we're stepping on the gas and going to give them the full experience, and they're not ready for it.
Yeah, we ripped around Atlanta in the Corvette. We got a little Corvette, but yeah.
Have you ever given TJ a ride?
I've rode somewhere a long time ago.
Where? I'm sure you did, but I forget. Was it Charlotte?
Might have been Atlanta or Charlotte. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Did you put TJ right next to the
wall? Was that
wall?
when you guys were working together?
It would have been before that, I think.
Interesting.
This has been 04, 05-ish probably.
Yeah. There's been a handful of times. We used to do ride-alongs for the foundation. So I'd do about 14 or 15 ride-alongs. We'd go to Bristol or Charlotte or somewhere. And all of these people had, paid for this or had been gifted this opportunity through a raffle or what have you. And at the end of those rides, I would always give like 3 or 4 to people that were there, like my wife or Latard or TJ or somebody. So, you try to plug them in there for a couple laps before we finish up.
I'd be curious, if TJ, for you, riding along would help you at all on the spotter stand. Does that give you an extra understanding of what a driver's going through, what they need?
I don't think it changed anything.
He's drove
Just
race
a thrill
cars.
ride? Yeah, that's true.
It didn't really
DJ's drove race cars. His perspective behind the wheel of a race car from a race in a 3-stock race at Charlotte's or Concord's gonna
come into play.
More.
I think remember David Pittman. Whenever you gave him a ride down at Charlotte, he's going down the backstretch, smiling, arm up, everything. You get to the corner, run the wall, and he's like, the smile goes when he goes. He pulls his arm and puts it inside the seat. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
We asked the YouTube chat, who would you like to see you give a ride along to next? I'm seeing Steven Wilson Jr., some MMA fighters. So
really,
those would be two cool.
Interesting.
People. Yeah.
I always like when you have a big athlete trying to fit in the car too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Well, they did build that car for Shaq that one time.
I was gonna say.
Oh
yeah.
Wow.
He's got to move the seat
climbing
all the way
through
back.
the roof.
Yeah. It's an illegal pace car if he's climbing in and out of the roof. This next question is coming from JP. We've seen some pit crew mistakes lately with Bowman's team and other kind of important stops in the playoffs. Have you ever had a conversation with your pit crew about a good or bad performance after a race?
Yeah.
What do those conversations look like?
I have never gotten with the crew after a race to critique the job they did. There's a couple times when I've said things on the radio after a stop that I probably shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
But then there's times when you'll have a great stop and it's all them. You know that it's something they did and they themselves. It's nice so is, you're the driver out there in the race car, and you're always the one sort of either winning or losing the day, right? And every now and then there's these moments during a pit stop where the pressure's on someone else entirely, right? And when they get you a couple spots or you beat everybody out on pit road, you're like, hell yeah, because you're in there. You feel like, and drivers are always this way, but you feel like you're on an island out there doing all this work, and nobody really understands how hard it is, and really appreciates just how difficult what you're doing is. And it's nice when the team is in a compliment to the day. But then you'll lose a couple spots or have something happen, and
you went from wanting to hit guys with hammers to telling them brush it off. We'll get them on the next one. In your career, we kept loose. We had a couple loose wheels, and I was dealing with some head injury stuff, and we were at Atlanta. Yeah, I was spotting for you the last one.
This one where me and McMurray went up into the fence.
You wrecked and hit the wall off of 2. Was it in? Yeah,
in the Bud car.
Yeah. I did the last 10 races in the Bud car.
Shit.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Probably because of this wreck.
Yeah.
So this was one of the worst. But we're at Atlanta. Caution comes out. There's going to be a little 4-lap, 3-lap back, run to the finish. On the pace laps, I can feel the wheel rocking back and forth on the studs.
Yeah, click.
It is loose. It is loose, like loose as it can be, without falling off the car. But we're going 40 mile an hour, right, under pace.
Oh boy.
And I'm talking to them, like, do we pit? What do you want me to do? This freaking thing feels loose. And they're kind of like, hey man, kind of up to you. I'm like, man, if we pit, the thing is, it's like they may be able to look at the wheel and say, yes, it was loose. They may look at the wheel and go, we don't see anything. And then they're taking your word for it. And you've came down pit road and went from 4th or 6th to 25th, and that's where you're going to finish because it's going to be a green-white checker.
Mm-hmm.
And so are you willing to come down pit road and give up all that track position, or are you going to be able to stay in the car and hope that it don't come off? And so I decided to stay out there. I mean, I can feel this thing rocking back and forth on pit. I can feel it sitting here right now. And it was absolutely – I should have absolutely come down pit road. We get the green flag, we start accelerating, and we go off into turn 1, and as soon as I land, it shoots out from the left rear. The wheel just takes off. And I spin around and take McMurray, and me and him just kill the fence, right? And it hurt. And so, I was mad about that. And so, we would have wheels that would be so fast, so that happens, right? And maybe that there was another loose wheel or two that came off, and we crashed really hard. We get 4 or 5 years down the road into this new era of NASCAR where they're only putting 4 lugs on the left side. They're only doing 4 on the right side.
Right. Yes.
We're like intentionally not even hitting the 5th lug at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At all.
You could
Man, I
be
forgot about
missing
that.
one legally.
Yeah, you can miss one legally, and it was a whole second faster on the pit stop if they just skipped the 5th lug entirely. They didn't even try to hit it. And I'm like, man, what are we doing? And now loose wheels are much more common. And I'm like, I can't hit walls. I can't. I'm like, I know my days are numbered with my head and all the injuries I had over the years, and I'm like, I can't be taking this kind of risk. And so, I told him, I said, if I have a wheel come off and I hit the damn wall, I'm going to take a hammer to all of y'all and show you how it feels. And, that was a pretty stupid thing to say over the radio. But I was saying it as like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? But, yeah. So you'll say stuff like that over the radio. you know instantly that you didn't need to say it. You shouldn't have said it. It needs to be a conversation you have later somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because it comes back. Like we were at Sonoma racing, and all the guys on this team in the Bud car are their family. Tony Jr. is my cousin. Two Beer is married to his at the time Tony Jr. was married to Two Beer's sister. So I mean, we all have known each other forever, and we've raced together, and we're very close. And so you'll say shit to your friends that you're very close to that you shouldn't say or would never say to other people. You know, you'll get in arguments and you'll say things and you'll be like, I can only say that to you. I would never say that to my other friend that's just a friend from work or whatever, right? And so Two Beer apparently broke his finger or something on one of the pit stops. Jack Man, it was him or somebody.
I think it was him.
We're out there grinding through a freaking 13th place finish or some shit. Yeah. We're grinding through a frustrating, miserable day because I don't know how to get around this damn racetrack. And I said we lost some spots or something, and I'm like, or I was talking to Tony Jr. about something. He wasn't answering. I'm like, what the hell's going on? He's like, well, we got a guy broke his finger. I was like, who? He goes, Two Beer. I was like, tell him to walk it off.
Yeah.
Joking. I knew he'd be fine. But everybody hears that and goes, wow, what an asshole.
Right.
But
you never, after a bad race where they had bad pit stops, talk to him afterwards or anything?
No. I mean, I wasn't I didn't get upset about it. I
find that interesting. That I feel like that's common for you drivers that you don't go talk to him, which I feel like.
So the over the wall guys are. They are. So here's how it is. Here's why you wouldn't do that. The guy on the right front of your car is one of the best guys in the garage, and 9 out of 10 times he's going to be the best guy on pit road, and he's getting a call every other week to come work for this other team. And so are you going to go up to him after the race and critique the job he did that day, or be or put pressure on him, or because he can just as easily say, I don't got to put up with this shit. I'll go over here and make a little bit more money. I'm here because of you. But if you're going to get my ass after every bad stop, I'll just go ahead and take this job that they've been begging me to come do for 6 months, and I'll go over there and go do it over there. They value me. They want me. And it's gonna make a difference in my quality of life because it's a big race or whatever, right? So I mean that back when I was racing, man, you were trying to keep all your guys, and you had real friendships with them, like my Jack Man, my Gas Man. You're hanging out with these people. They're your friends. They're your buddies.
Plus, they're athletes too. They know when they mess up.
Yeah,
and they don't need.
There's a coach there's a coach and a crew chief to handle that. I didn't have to do it. Like if it was a serious issue, my Tony Jr. or Tony Senior or somebody else was going to handle it.
Well, I look at it as like quarterback talking to his offensive lineman. Like I'm not saying like you're going to just berate them and everything.
No.
Like especially nowadays, because to TJ's point, like you've got former football players and wrestlers. And,
I know. Yeah.
Like it's a performance based. They're athletes.
Yeah.
They know how to handle it.
I always thought I was very lucky, with I wasn't really. I'll be honest, man. I was more interested in like being friends with these guys and us being us having each other's back because
being a team.
Well, I always felt like that. If you could build a friendship, then they were going to try to do their best.
They're invested.
Yep. When you come down pit road and they're indifferent, and they're like, that guy behind the wheel don't give a shit if I'm here or somebody else is here. He's not reached out to me. He doesn't know what's going on in my life. He doesn't care to get to know me. Do they really fight for you?
Yeah. What's
their motivation, right? And so I always wanted to try to make sure, we had camaraderie. Everybody felt like it was all level. And if they were excited about you and trying to help you, they were gonna try to be the best on pit road every stop. And so, yeah.
One one follow-up question, just because we were having this conversation just yesterday. You know, you were talking about debating whether to come in or not for that loose wheel, right? Like that internal battle of like, stick, I think it's going to work. This past week, you know, Josh Berry and Austin Cindric both had individual fires. Berry got out, but Cindric was just sitting in the car while it was on fire and ended up staying and driving away. Like, how do you evaluate, you know, at least from a race car driver's perspective, being on fire and like, all right, now it's time to get out, or it might go out, like I can keep going?
Well, I've been in a car that was on fire, and so I was in the Corvette wreck in 2004. I was sitting in there, and the entire interior of the car and everything around me, my whole body, inside of my helmet, everything was fire. And the intensity of the heat is, once you've experienced that and you kind of know how quickly that can injure you physically, you're like, you're out. I'm getting out. And so we were at Bristol, and we caught the floorboard on fire in my car.
Right.
And I'm thinking, all right, dude, you know, it's burning my leg already. Feels like a crab down there pinching on me. And while you're while adrenaline's going, you could mismanage that, and that could get really bad quickly. And as soon as you stop the car, does the fire get bigger? You know, while the car's moving, that kind of tempers the flame a little bit. But as soon as you stop, how bad's this thing going to get? You know, you'll always. That happened at Bristol. I got out as fast as I could because I didn't want to mess with no fire. But, you know, you do have thoughts afterwards like, man, should I have tried to stay in? Should we have, you know, maybe diagnosed the problem and taped up the wire and went back out and finished the race? I don't know. You know, I kind of wish it would. You know, you're always going to have that feeling in the back of your mind when you think about that race. Man, I wish that would have went different. Or, gosh, if only that hadn't happened, right? We said, even leading up to this week, I'm not even running this race, and all the guys in the garage are in this building. You know, you go up to them, and they're like, man, you had it won. Man, if only that thing wouldn't have caught fire, you know. So, I mean, we still deal with that regret. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I watched the race. Josh's car had a ton of smoke in it.
It was worse.
It looked much worse.
Yeah.
Neither one of them are great experiences. How much can you breathe? Can you breathe? You know, what kind of, you know, is breathing in all of that smoke going to give you some sort of a long-term issue that's going to have to, you know, get taken care of?
I think Josh had to get out.
Yeah. I don't blame Josh for getting out.
No,
I don't blame Austin for sticking it out. And I don't know that I have a change of opinion in either driver. I hate it happened to Josh, but you know, it's just kind of a freak deal. I would not want to mess with. I experienced that fire, and if I'm in a race car and there's any kind of an issue that's where there's a fire, there's a danger, I'm freaking getting out of there.
I think I'm with you.
Because it sucks.
I'm not dealing with fire.
I think the moral of this Ash Junior is race car drivers are tough SOBs.
The fire, the injury from fire takes so long to heal.
Oh yeah,
so long, and so, you know, that's the other thing. Like if you get a bad burn, you know, that's months of discomfort and changing bandages and, you know, scraping off all that. It's just a awful experience. People have no clue how bad 2004 was.
People are talking about that in the YouTube chat, and I think a lot of people agree that fire scares them, and it probably makes sense that it scares a lot of people. But that's a good place to wrap this Ash Junior.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for tuning in, and man, we talk a lot about the Bristol race. Obviously, there's a great conversation going on in our sport around whether that was a great race and what we should do going forward, if anything different. I kind of enjoyed it, but I know you'll want to listen to our take on what we thought of the race weekend. And we're thankful for Xfinity for the support here at Dirty Mo Media in the Ask Junior segment of the show. In racing and in life, speed isn't optional. It's expected. As a driver in the Xfinity Series, as a team owner in the Xfinity Series, I rely on things that perform under pressure. And that's why I go with Xfinity Wi-Fi, fast, dependable internet. One price locked in for 5 years. No contract, no slowdowns, and no nonsense. Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR. We'll see y'all next week.
We are out.